Hi, this is David from Slovakia and the Euroch Fan Club, and this is Pro Hockey News Podcast. Go X Go!
Welcome in to another edition of the Pro Hockey News Podcast, brought to you by Chicago Wolves Merchandise Store, ChicagoWolvesStore.com. PHN15 is the discount code. Get that great logoed merchandise for yourself. One of the best, not just in the American League, but I think in all of hockey worldwide. That's ChicagoWolvesStore.com. PHN15 is the code. Adam Minnick, Lonnie Goldsmith, Richard Cote, the First Line Edition here with you this week. And we're halfway to the end of the Stanley Cup, guys.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Or we're no way to the end of the Stanley Cup if you think Montreal's coming back.
They might take one, but I think stick a fork in them. I think they're done.
Whoa! We're not getting right into that stuff. Don't just there it goes. I mean, just out of the intro and into the show, huh?
You know, here's the thing with Tampa right now is that beating them 2 in a row doesn't happen.
No.
Every time you thought the Islanders were going to make a run on them, they take a game. This Tampa team bounces back from a loss like nothing I've ever seen. It's pretty remarkable.
So we're not doing friendly banter, and we're just going to go right into where the final is right now?
No. You set us up for this. So.
I was, it's like previewing. It's like a tease. No. Okay. Tampa's up 2-0. I think game 2. I felt was total domination by the Lightning. I thought they looked better in game 2 than they did in game 1.
Over the entire game, I would say they looked better in game 2. I never to add to that. I didn't think Montreal had any control that Tampa was ever on their heels. I know people are making the turnover in the second period that led to the goal with 0.3 left as such a huge turning point. I just thought, so they took the lead earlier instead of like later in the third period or into the third period. I just thought it was a dominant performance by Tampa from beginning to end.
Actually, I disagree. I thought Montreal was unlucky. Through one point in the second period, Nick Suzuki had as many shots on goal as Tampa Bay did.
So we're going to but if you believe in shots on goal as a thing,
well, you can't score unless you get shots on goal. So
the Islanders won a lot of series. Yeah, but the Islanders made it far without taking shots.
Well, they were more selective in their shots.
I was going to say, how many of those were quality shots on net, or
okay. But here's
I think that I think Montreal was unlucky in game 2. I mean, the fact is
unforced errors are not unlucky. Those are shooting yourself. So here's my question. So you think they're lucky? I'm going to go with they had unforced errors. The question is, were they unforced, or was it just Tampa's that good?
I think
that
Tampa's
Montreal
that
had to be Yeah,
I think Tampa's that good. I think Montreal's got to play perfect games in order to make this a series.
So how are they unlucky if they have to play perfect games?
Whatever. I thought they played better than Tampa.
I get where Lonnie is going. I mean, you get a bad bounce of the puck, and then you get a turnover. But there were a lot of forced turnovers from Tampa Bay.
Just go behind the net for 9 seconds and eat the period. There's nothing unlucky about serving the pizza.
That was just dumb.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No, listen. 43 shots on. Like Vasilevsky's really good.
Best goal in the world.
I'm not sure that. I just don't know what else Montreal does. Maybe the home ice helps, but I don't know what else they can do to turn it around. I thought that game was there for the taking for them, and they just didn't get it done.
To me, none of this is a shock because I thought it was going to be 5 games. The first really good team. Really good team that Montreal played all season was Vegas. And it wasn't a walk in the park. It was a battled series. The first great team that Montreal has seen all year is Tampa. There were no really good teams in the North.
No.
They were good. So, yeah, yes, they were the last, and it's a great story, and they were the bottom seed, blah, blah, blah. But look at the competition they played all year, and they still were that bottom seed. They didn't see the first 2 rounds. They were with teams that were just slightly better than them. The semifinal and the final, all world different.
I think they're playing. That's what we're seeing. I would go so far as to say that Toronto's actually significantly better than them. But Toronto's Toronto when it comes to playoff time.
I was gonna.
I think what this shows is that there's one truly great team in the NHL, and they've run into him now.
Okay.
Vegas
Richard
is
wants
good.
to say so much of it. Richard wants to talk about Colorado and the misstep. Like, come on, you can do it, Richard.
No, okay. I will give you. There is one really great team in the NHL, and that is Tampa Bay. I don't know what Colorado would have done against Tampa Bay. It probably would have been 1-goal games, and I'm sure both of them would have gone to Tampa through game 2. Colorado would probably have played a little bit tougher defense. But like, I don't know about Montreal. Like, I know you were saying that Toronto was, so much better than Montreal. You do have to take into account that every year they make the playoffs, they choke. So it, really great doesn't really mean anything. And when you get in the playoffs, and you're destined to lose in the first or second round.
I didn't say Toronto was really great. I said they're significantly better than Montreal.
Okay.
And there's a difference there.
Would you say that Vegas is significantly better than Toronto?
Yes.
And would you say Tampa is better than Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you say they're significantly better than Vegas?
No.
Okay.
I think they'd have beat Vegas. I think they'd have beat Colorado. But I don't know. They're better than both of those teams. Significantly, I don't think so. I mean, Tampa's just so deep. They just throw so much at you. And they've got the experience. There is they know what they're doing in these spots, and that means something.
And they're how much over the cap with Stamkos and Kucherov?
They're not over the cap. They are legally compliant. They are legally compliant in the playoffs.
Channeling Dougie Hamilton. Just channeling Dougie Hamilton.
Don't blame TBL for playing the CBA.
Right.
Every team's done. Pretty much every team that's won the cup in the cap era has done it. Let's not kid ourselves.
Right.
Let's not kid ourselves. It's got to be effective. Got to be effective with it. I think one of the bigger stories coming out. Well, first of all, Montreal gets their head coach back tonight. So there's that.
Yep.
He is Dominique will return. Him and his girlfriend come out of COVID lockdown as they declare quarantine. He had some funky quotes today. He's pretty pissed off about the lack of fan increasement with the provincial rules up there. So they're staying at 3,500 in the Bell Center. And then he basically said, and this is where I think he's right. And it's not even politics or COVID or let's even get to that. He goes, we're not going to allow more fans inside. He wants hey, if you get double vax, let's use a thing. We're going to allow 25,000 fans outside in the plaza because they're doing parties out there and all that. Like, I can't argue that one.
I mean, it's outside.
Yeah, larger space.
No. Have you seen the video of the plaza?
Yes.
Larger space, better air circulation than something indoors.
Correct.
3,500 seems a bit low.
I agree. For is it 18,000? I think there's no reason not to go at least, double that and at least go closer to a third.
Yeah, especially if you're going to make them double vaxxed and kind of proof points. And I mean, and he also said it could get the vaccine rates up if that's kind of dangling. I'm like, yeah, okay. But
see, that's the dangle you start at the start. You throw that out there at the beginning of the playoffs.
Exactly, because you're not going to get enough people double vaxxed in time to get in.
Correct. You incentivize them at the start of the playoffs, and that's how you get your crowds up.
Well, I think it was probably too early then, and let's
be honest, I don't think Montreal thought they were going to be here.
No, so. I think that.
Montreal was also exploring playing in Chicago at this point, not even Montreal. So
I don't mean the just in Montreal. I mean nationwide in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Make it a nationwide vaccine effort for those 4 cities, and I
don't understand how the province can justify allowing 25,000 people unmasked in a plaza as okay. Yes, I know it's open air, but you're still less than 6 feet away, and there's stuff that's going on in a drunken mess. And 3,500 is where you want to cap it indoors. It got to be a little give and take, I would think.
You'd think so.
I also think it's a lot easier to police people going into an indoor building rather than outdoors because they're going to congregate no matter what.
Yeah.
This is the Stanley Cup final. They're going to congregate. They haven't been there for 20 years. So, okay, sorry. No, almost 30 years, like 27 years.
Yeah,
27.
30 to
28.
Right. 28. 93 was the last time they were there, so that'd be 28. 28. Math, right?
I love that you talked yourself right through that after he even gave you the number.
I'm not a math major. You don't have to do math in journalism.
You don't even play one on TV.
Nope. Exactly. 28 years. You're going to have people congregating around that stadium no matter what. You may as well give them a spot to do it.
Yeah, But anyway, there's going to be more remote-controlled lights attached to seats than people in seats in Game 3. That's what's happening. They're putting lights on empty seats for some kind of pre-gamey show thing. Stay tuned. Woo.
Yeah, I'll have to watch tonight.
That's what's making you watch tonight? That's what got you, huh?
Yeah, the lights.
The lights. Yeah. Got it. The intrigue
must-see TV right there.
The intrigue of what the lights will be got you. Had nothing to do with the fact.
Yeah, it's not like I was going to be watching anyway. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. It's the youths of today. I tell you, Lonnie, these kids.
Kids today is ridiculous.
These kids. So, yeah, we are getting down to the final few games on the Peacock on the NBC. So. And I was a little surprised, but the game's on NBC. They're not moving it to the cable for Game 3 and 4 like we've seen the past few years. I think the whole life of the contract has done that.
Well, I think didn't they open with 1 and 2 on SN and then switched it?
They did. Yes, they did.
No. Because there was always talk how the clinching game could have been on cable. The first two,
right?
They always they opened on. It was 3 and 4 that moved to the NBC SN. I'm almost positive.
No, I believe the schedule was always it was on SN games 1 through 3, and then 4 through 7 were on NBC.
No, there were some years because if it was a sweep, it would have finished on cable, and there was a whole big kerfuffle about that.
I thought they had flex, so if Game 4 would have been a sweep, they could have moved it to NBC.
I don't believe so.
I don't think they had a flex.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it used to be 3 and 4.
Like, how far back are we talking?
Like, well, last year doesn't count.
Right.
The last normal season we would have had in that part of the contract. But
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're my wife, because if she doesn't remember, then it didn't happen no matter what, I think.
A guy who works for an NBC station, I don't remember not having a Game 4 on our air.
Okay, you may want to check the records. Check the tape.
Let's check it.
Check the tape. Check the tape. I'm telling you, that's what it is. So we're heading into Game 3. Killorn out still. He'll miss his second game in a row. It's a loss for Tampa, but they haven't really missed them. I mean, everybody's talking, guys, about how Price would have to steal a couple games for them to win the series, which I think is true. But there's one problem with that. When you're playing the best, currently, in my opinion, the best goalie in the world, even stealing a game doesn't necessarily mean winning when Vasilevsky is that good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He was when you get this far, you get to this point that almost always you're going to need a goalie to steal one. Your offense has a tough night. You're going to need your goalie to step up and stand on his head. And I think that was always going to be the case for Montreal, being, I think, not poor offensively, but maybe a little, certainly more limited than Tampa. And, you know, it may not, you're right, it may not matter. He could stand on his head and could lose 1-0. That is definitely in play.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to poke holes because I want the series to go on, Richard.
Yeah.
I'm trying to poke, like, where can we get a Montreal making this a 6-game series at this point?
You need to have Tampa Bay play their worst 2 games in Montreal, and then it goes 6. Like, you need Tampa Bay to absolutely fail in Montreal, because they're not going to do it at home. So if they just play horrid on the road, Vasilevsky has, gives up 3+ goals both games, then yeah, Montreal has a chance.
So basically, Tampa has to lose 2 games in order for this to get to 6 games.
They have to lose the 2 in Montreal because, again, I don't think they're doing it at home. They're not going to lose a game at home.
Okay. But I'm saying Montreal doesn't have to win. Tampa has to lose.
Yes.
So there's there's nothing Montreal could do to win a game.
I don't, just on paper, I don't think that Montreal has the staff to be able to stack up against Tampa Bay.
They don't, but let's also remember, I mean, I know we got to remember way back 6 weeks ago to the first round. Tampa, Vasilevsky has sort of played his way into this current form. He was borderline bad against Florida. Gave up 4. They won 5-4. Blew a 5-0 lead to lose 6-5. Gave up 4. Clinching game. Gave up another 4. And yes, he's closed out every series with a shutout. But he's had moments. Now, it's been a while since he's had those moments, but it's not like he's been flawless this whole postseason. He's been damn good, but he has definitely had moments where you kind of wonder what's going on with him and the rest of the team, for that matter, because you don't put it all on him. But that 6-goal comeback was just inexplicable. I mean, and it was in Tampa that happened. He blew a 5-0 home ice lead.
Well, I'll also point out, remember that Florida finished above them in the standings in that division, and they've also played each other all season long. So Florida knew how to play Tampa. Montreal, I think, is at a loss. They've played them 2 games this entire year. They have no clue, what to expect out of them. They haven't played, more than those 2 games against them.
True. That's fair.
Yeah, it's
and even with that Florida series, Vasilevsky still has a 189 goals against and a 939 save percentage, which is better on both than he had last year during the Bubble Cup run.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Sure. Always a chance.
All right. That's why we play the game.
That's right.
So I'm going to stand corrected, Richard. You are right, and I am right on this TV battle.
Okay.
It wasn't the first 2 games. It's always been games 2 and 3 that moved to SN. So they opened the series on the big dog, then they moved to cable for 2, and then they came back for the rest of the series. So it wasn't early on. It was a 3 and 4 scenario. Looks like it was depending on the night of the week, but in the last 6-7 years, the last half of this contract, it was a 2 and 3 scenario is what it was. So it wasn't the first 2, which I knew it wasn't the first 2, but you were right. There has not been a clinching game on there in a long time. It looks like 2013. It was the last time was 2013. It was games 3 and 4.
Game 6. Oh, sorry.
Clinching scenario. Yeah, it was 3 and 4 were on the SN after the opening 2. But since it looks like 14, it has been the 2 and 3 scenario on the. Oh no, I'm sorry. 2015.
So it was 3 and 4 for the first bunch of the contract, and then in 15 they moved it to 1 and 2, and then it looks like in 16 they went to this 2-3 format. So yeah,
which I kind of like.
Very confusing.
You know, you open the series on national TV, and then every possible clinching game from there on out.
You know what? You know what broadcast. I like more? What's going to happen in the future where it's one network's going to have all 7 games?
Yes.
Like, it's just going to be one spot for the Stanley Cup final.
What a novel thought.
I mean, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But I mean, now we're going to have 2 companies that are going to have the playoffs on at the same time. We're not going to know what channel to find it on.
That's when you open up the old internet browser and type in your game.
It's just the joke that people complained about the whole CNBC, USA, MSNBC for the first 2 rounds, and now they're like, these same people are like, but now that it's going to 2 networks, it's like, guys, the NBA doesn't have a problem with it. Pretty sure this is kind of like the NBA, where one conference has one network and it flips you. I mean, it's amazing how this contract just kind of came out of nowhere.
And like the NCAA too, NCAA basketball tournament, you got like 5 different channels with a bunch of different games. Yeah. You can navigate that too.
Yeah, everybody learned where True TV and the Impractical Jokers are because of the NCAA tournament.
Exactly.
I got to tell you, I haven't seen a commercial for Impractical Jokers since March.
They're so funny though. Good stuff. The Tenderloins. I'm happy they're finally getting known. I always thought they were a funny little improv joking group. Good comedians. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
Outside, guys, we've had a lot of odds and ends news, kind of throughout the NHL. And if you need some odds and ends equipment, check out Verbero Hockey. You can get to them on the Pro Hockey News website and click on the link to get a discount there. Verbero Hockey, great stuff with the new equipment entry into there. Good stuff. Get them out. I know Richard is still deciding what he's going to do for his Verbero Hockey buy through the discount on the Pro Hockey News website. But get all your odds and ends filled there for your hockey equipment. They got a lot of good stuff there at verberohockey.com. The Houston Coyotes, currently playing out of Glendale, have made a head coaching decision. Andre Tourigny, most recently in the OHL. He's been in the Quebec Major. He's been an assistant. He was with Team Canada in the World Championships. Guys, they're dipping down not to a retread, not to even a current NHL rostered person. They went to the junior rank to get their guy to usher them into the Houston era.
Yeah, I don't totally get that one. I'm not going to lie.
That's deep analysis by Lonnie Goldsmith right there.
It's an awfully confusing hire. I do wonder, look, I think it's great that a guy who's, toiled away in the juniors gets a shot. He's been an assistant with the Senators and with the Avalanche. But I wonder, I think anytime anything with Arizona comes up, you kind of wonder what if given the ownership situation, what the, if that was an issue, getting a known commodity as a coach. I was trying to say that as diplomatically as possible.
But here, Richard, I'll throw this. There's only 32 of these jobs. And is the worst job still better than not having a job? Or is it when you're a guy like Tourigny versus a guy like a Claude Julien or a Joel Quenneville, is it the guys that can be picky were picky in this situation? Do you think they got turned down by a few of the targets that Armstrong was going after?
I think it's part coaches with experience being a little picky. Obviously, if you have experience and you've been successful at the NHL level, you probably don't want to go to a club that's been known to be as toxic as the front office of Arizona. You really don't want to touch that. But I think this may be more of Arizona trying to bring in a head coach as cheaply as possible. I think they probably weren't in the market to, lay down a lot of money for a head coach when they know that either one, they're going to be moving, or two, they're not going to be that successful anytime soon.
Yeah, I like that call. I didn't even think of the financial angle. I mean, what's the most ridiculous thing about this team? If they would just plop an arena in or near Scottsdale, they would have every coach and player to pick from that they ever wanted. Because find me an athlete that doesn't want to live in Scottsdale.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's just they don't want to. They don't want to drive to Glendale. I mean, it's a deterrent. You got, like you said, the new ownership is not exactly as rosy as we thought, if you believe what The Athletic wrote. And I don't think any of us have a reason in that expose to not believe what was uncovered there, especially by the journalist that uncovered it. Speaking about the tumultuous news, the Chicago Blackhawks thing has been talked about. They had good news this week. The serious part of it is Jonathan Toews. All the rumors were false. Many of the rumors, almost all of them, were false of what he had. Basically, his body's just broken down mentally, physically. He just needed some time off is essentially what the disease that they chronicled is. He was back on the ice. And a team that needed some good PR, Lonnie, this past week got some good PR.
Yeah, look, it's regardless of what you think of the Blackhawks, Taves is a classy player, and it's great that he's able to be healthy and be on the ice and start trying to work his way back into game shape and hopefully play again. And yeah, it's a good PR distraction for the Blackhawks. But as you pointed out, the cynic in both of us says, well, Good timing to be able to put this out and take everybody's attention away from the truly awful stuff that's embroiling the franchise at the moment.
Richard, from some of the beat writers, the folks that are way more in the know than any of us that were kind of tweeting out, basically saying that this was a Taves timetable decision. So my question to you, as the captain of the team, we know he was going to release this. He'd been skating for a couple weeks, and it was just timing. Mm-hmm. Do you think... I mean, he's Captain Serious. He's measured. I mean, everybody talks about the reputation. Do you think he was trying to help his franchise with the timing of this as well? Saying release it when he did?
I don't know if he was necessarily trying to help it. I think maybe the timing was a little bit more favorable to the franchise to release this information. But, I mean... As a captain, I'm sure he wants to help the franchise, that he's been with so many years and, a fan base that absolutely loves him. But I think it's more of a 50-50 split of, okay, yeah, this is a good timetable for the club, but it also happens to work out that, here's my return. Here's why I was gone.
You are the least cynical of this group continually.
Seriously,
and that says something.
I like to try and stay in the middle.
Yeah, no, you keep. And then the trifecta of Blackhawks news: if Pierre LeBrun breaking it that the Hawks are engaging potential trade talks with Duncan Keith to move that salary and all that to see maybe if Keith wants to move on. He's got a full no trade clause, so it's got to make sense for Duncan Keith and his family and all that. So just exploratory, but it's really the first time we've seen one of the core. Get talked about, Seabrook retiring, Crawford retiring, but this is the first core guy that they're considering moving if he wants it. So big news for the Hawks this week. Other talks about guys on the move. Seth Jones, he's going everywhere. I mean, who is it? Like, it's amazing. Like,
where is he going? Where's he going today?
Yeah. But to me, he's going to more teams than Eichel is right now. Like, Seth Jones seems to be, and I think a lot of it's contract. Seth Jones seems to be the most coveted prize of the offseason right now.
No reason he wouldn't be, honestly.
Is he that good?
I think so. He's 26 years old, barely entering his prime. You put him with a coach that's not a psychopath. Yeah, I think he is.
He hasn't always been with a psychopath coach in his career.
No, I mean, he hasn't. That's true. The last several years he has, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just...
But, I mean, those were some of the best years of his career is when he was with Tortorella.
That's the thing. So are we? Is he? I think the biggest shock to me that I keep forgetting for the Texas native is that he's 26 years old.
Right.
He seems older.
Yeah.
Because he's been playing since he was 18 or 19. I think I don't know if he was officially 18. I know that was his draft year, but I mean I think he was 19 when he entered the league. But he hasn't been an all-star until Tortorella became his coach. He wasn't an all-star in Nashville. He wasn't. He actually progressed under Tortorella's regime, you could argue.
You could, but he's still young and still getting better, I think. And I think he's going to potentially be a steal for some. I mean, the problem is he's going to cost you in a contract.
Oh yeah.
And the other reason I think he seems older is that because because he comes out of Texas, because he's black, he's been talked about for and because of who his father is, he's been talked about for a very long time. So I think he's been on the radar of hockey fans since a good couple of years before his draft season.
Yeah, it's okay. I think it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. Because it's just like I said, he's getting. I mean, Eichel's the biggest name, but the most landing spots I continually see, in the rumor mill seems to be more teams are in on Jones than they are on Eichel.
What is he, like half the cap hit?
Yeah, he's $5.4 million, and he's only got 1 year left.
I mean, and
way more affordable. Yes,
way more affordable and way less baggage.
Yeah,
unless the Columbus and national media have been, keeping things quiet in some way. He doesn't have nearly the baggage that Eichel does.
Any chance they get traded for each other?
I mean, there's always
Columbus has a lot of draft picks they can unload for an Eichel type. I mean, how many first-round picks does Buffalo want? Columbus can give them to you. I mean, they got 3 this year.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst trade that Buffalo has ever made.
Boy, get 5 more years of Eichel at 10 per.
Yeah.
He doesn't, the no movement doesn't kick in yet.
Right.
No movement doesn't kick in until 22-23.
Mm-hmm.
And Columbus is entering a big year. This is like the last year before almost every one of their contracts expire. The 21-22 season. Like literally Atkinson, Bjorkstrand, and Gavrikov are the only players under contract in 22-23.
But I guess it's, for Buffalo, it's a no-brainer to, unload Eichel for whatever they can get. But, bringing on a defenseman like Seth Jones, you're not going to have to pay him as much as you've been paying Eichel. You're still going to have to probably retain half of Eichel's salary for the trade.
No.
I'm sure.
No,
you don't think
Columbus
so?
has room. Columbus has room. They've got 23.
Yeah, but is Columbus going to want to take that on?
That's the $10 million question.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bringing on $5 million more a contract a year, and they have $23 million of room for this year, this coming season, let alone an entire roster free the next few years. I mean, they can do it.
But I guess my question is, if you bring on Seth Jones, does Buffalo believe that in the next 5 years, when you can get a lot out of Seth Jones, are they going to be able to be competitive? Is it going to be worth it to bring a player like him on? Is it going to fill the seats?
Forget what they're bringing on, but they're probably also getting one of those 3 first-round draft picks to give them. I think Buffalo's going, because that's the thing. What you also have to remember too is now the rumor is they're shopping Ristolainen a bit.
Well, here's the okay, if they're shopping Ristolainen, who's one of 3 defensemen Buffalo has under contract next year, they're going to draft, by all accounts, they're going to draft Owen Power first. I suppose that's your defenseman of the future, but he's not. He's going to play one more year at Michigan.
Right.
You trade Seth Jones. There's no guarantee Seth Jones resigns there.
But there's no guarantee Ristolainen it's a Ristolainen replacement, right? I mean, it fits. I firmly believe this fits a couple of the moves that you hear rumored out of there.
So what's the Ristolainen trade? Him for Jones?
No, I think that's secondary. I think then it allows you to move him potentially on draft day or whatever pops up after you figure out, because here's what it comes down to. I think in the end, if they're able to move Eichel, I'm almost positive Reinhart becomes the target to keep. Like he's the franchise at that point. And then you got to decide, is Ristolainen the other part of the franchise, or do you bring in Seth Jones and roll your dice for a year with him?
Could we just laugh at Jeff Skinner being signed for
yeah
nine per for the next, I don't know, 80 years?
He becomes a free agent in 27.
Jesus. When my youngest child graduates from high school.
Well, Bobby Bonilla will still be under contract with the Mets by then.
Bobby Bonilla will still be under...
Or not under contract. We'll be paid. We'll have payments.
We'll still be paid. Yeah, boy, they've... I think if you're Buffalo, you've got to sort of set your board. You're taking power number 1, and after that, I think you just have to... you have to figure out what your priorities are. If Eichel wants out... figuring out a way to move that is your priority. It's probably something that's going to happen at the draft. I think it's obvious he's going to be exposed to Seattle. I mean, Seattle's not going to take him, but I think it's. I think he's going to. You don't protect him.
Yeah, you look at it. Like I said, they have 2. Buffalo has only a single first round pick in 21, 22, 23. They're in load up mode over the next couple of years. They've got multiple picks in the 2nd and 3rd and the 6th round this year. That's it for the next 3 years of draft of multiple round picks. And you got a team like Columbus with 3 first-round picks, who I'm not sure can afford... Like, if they're going to go 3 first round, 2 out of the 3 can't play right away because I don't think they could afford it until they figure out what the hell their roster is going to look like in 22, 23 because they've got nobody. Oh, and by the way, you've got to sign Elvis. So that's going to cost you $5 or more million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they believe in him over Korpisalo. And there's no free, and there's no free agent goalie class coming up this year that you can sign a guy to bridge you. No, it's a weak free agent goalie class. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I think there needs to be a real, like those 2 teams could be a dark horse with the 2 most talked about tradable players.
I'd say that's not a terrible spot to try to build around if you're...
Of course, that's assuming Seth Jones hasn't put Buffalo as one of his 10 no teams. Right. He's got that, he can submit a list of 10.
Look, if you're Columbus and you can re-sign Lina, you have Atkinson, Bjorkstrand, Domi, Jenner, and Eichel, it's not a bad top 6.
No.
No, it's not a bad. It's on paper, talent-wise, that's not a bad top 6. Attitude-wise, yeesh, that I could turn south in a big hurry.
Well, but I would, and it's not like they're going to a division where you can't get good quick.
True.
I mean, that's a very, very transient division in terms of top to bottomy type stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Richard, you're stewing it. You have that deep look thought of like this, like I may have come up with something somewhat smart.
No,
Oh, okay,
no,
never
I
mind.
never
Sorry.
have that look. Don't
Sorry.
worry about that. That's never going on.
I gotta learn how to read you better.
Yes, you do.
So that's it. Nothing. No, you got no Eichel tidbits from me, Richard. Nothing.
All of my predictions about who's going where in the offseason or even at the trade deadline have been just completely off. I can't read this year at all, so I'm not even going to bother with Eichel. I don't think there's going to be an Eichel and Jones trade. I don't think that's going to happen. As much as you guys have made your case and started getting me to believe that maybe that might happen, in my heart, I don't think that's going to happen.
If it does, what would you do?
I don't know. I guess.
I don't know. I just was throwing something out there. I thought maybe
You want me to do something if it happens?
Know.
Let's place a bet if it does happen.
No, I was just trying to just
name your price.
I don't know. I just thought you'd come up with something like crazy and stupid, and we would be able to put it out there for the world. But that didn't work. So
no,
fail. Epic fail.
Yes, epically fail.
So broadcast news. So TNT has named their top team. 2 of the 3 of the NBC top team are going there. So Eddie Olczyk on the analyst, Kenny Albert will be the lead for there. We don't know if or will there be a third. We know it won't be Brian Boucher because then ESPN, of course, announced their entire lineup with some, I think it's a couple surprising names. Boucher's going over to the ESPN ABC family. I think the most shocking thing, Lonnie, to me was Sean McDonough is going to be the lead play-by-play, not Steve Levy.
I'm a little surprised by that. I think McDonough's great, though. I think Levy's great. I think Bucci-Gross is better in the studio than on the call. But there's some great names on ESPN's list.
Hold on.
I think they threw out what?
McDonough's great. We haven't heard him on hockey in 15 years.
The guy's done everything well. He gets thrown into everything, and he does it really well. I don't see any reason why this is going to change.
What's really odd to me about McDonough, he's been thrown, and this is back to his CBS days. He hasn't been able to hold the top spot of any assignment for a very long time, which I find interesting. But he's always like that next up guy, like baseball, college football, the NFL. He's had a lot of top type spots in like short spurts. And here's another top spot for him. And I think he's a great broadcaster. I'm not saying he's not going to do great on hockey and all that. I just think he's that interesting when you look at his career. He's had a lot of the top spots for short term.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but I just think that I think McDonough's better than Levy is, though.
I don't know on hockey because I don't remember McDonough on hockey 15 years ago. So Levy supposedly, it sounds like he'll be the number 2 guy. And then Bucci-Gross and Bob Wischusen, who I think is a very underrated play-by-play guy. He's on there. And also Leah Hextall, who, she's a good reporter. I was not impressed with her college run this year and some of her work on NHL and on the play-by-play. It's not for everybody. Couple interesting analyst names. So we mentioned Boucher. He's going to take over. Mark Messier is apparently the Wayne Gretzky answer for the Disney guys. What came out, by the way, Eddie Olczyk was on a podcast, the Blackhawk Talk podcast. Apparently, by the way, guys, it sounds like Gretzky is only contracted for like 17 dates on Turner. So I'm guessing we're going to get a lot of playoff postseason. Like Winter Classic, and then because that's what Turner's marquee, I think, is going to be for the year, and then postseason stuff. Great hire, though, by Kevin Weeks coming over from the NHL Network. Yep. I'm assuming he'll pull, I don't know if he'll pull double duty. Melrose stays, there. Chris Chelios, Lonnie, interesting name. Did not expect to see him on a roster.
No, that is not a name I saw coming. I'm intrigued. He's obviously so incredibly intelligent talking about the game. I'm really I wasn't looking for him to end up on TV. I
guess he doesn't want the coaching grind, is what this kind of tells you when he stepped back from the bench. And I'm interested to see how they use him because I think he'll be a better desk guy than game guy.
I would think so too. I mean, who do you think the game analysts are going to be?
Ray Ferraro, I think is going to be AJ Malesko, Brian Boucher.
Yep.
Those are your no-brainers.
I agree. Those are the no-brainer three.
I think Weeks, Chelios, Messier are your desk type folks.
And Callahan also.
I think Callahan and Melrose are going to go either way. I think they get a taste of both.
I would like to see less of Melrose
Yes.
at the game.
I don't disagree. But why does the gut tell me they're going to pair him with Levy to start off? That's what my gut says.
Yeah, it's probably...
Maybe as a three-man?
Maybe as a three-man.
Yep. But I'm guessing we're going to see Sean McDonough, Brian Boucher, and maybe AJ Malesko as your A crew.
Put Boucher between the bench. Actually, really, either of those two could go between the bench.
Boucher wants to go between the bench.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
if you read some of his quotes and all that, I think he wants to go between. Or I'm wondering, are they getting Ray because I know Ferraro's supposedly splitting time with TSN. Is Ferraro going to be the A game with Boucher and McDonough? Are you going to get enough of Ferraro to make him the A guy? But then you got two guys that want to be between the glass.
I think you can't, and I also think you're not going to have a situation where you're sharing him with TSN. You're not going to put him on the A team. You're going to work him in spots. But I think if he's got to work the TSN games too, I think you got to be a little more strategic in how you use him. And him and Bucci are going to end up together a bunch too.
Yeah, I'm assuming Weeks is going to be your main desk guy. The wild card of all this, the most interesting name to me for the analyst, honestly, it wasn't Hillary Knight. She's really good. Rick DiPietro.
Same.
Yeah.
That's another one. Didn't see that one coming.
No, I mean, the guy's been on talk radio in New York for a long time now. You know, he doesn't have to get paid a lot of money because the Islanders paid him to sit. I'm interested to see what role he's going to play. Because I think he may be a hybrid too of it.
Yeah. That's entirely possible.
But what a damn good lineup ESPN put together. I'll give them credit. This is a really solid. You know, Linda Cohn also on there. Cassie Campbell Pascal. Linda Cohn's going to host the In the Crease show. Wyshynski, Emily Kaplan, Blake Bolden are also reporters. Leah Hextall's also named a reporter. Then they got a couple folks on Deportes, which I thought was interesting that they put the Deportes crew on here. But ESPN, I mean, give them almost everybody. I mean, a lot of in-house stuff, but they weren't afraid to hire people.
Well, they saw the TNT, they saw the Turner A team, and raised them the whole lineup. And I think it's a great lineup. I really like the group they put together. On the Turner side, I'm a big Anson Carter fan. I think he's done a really great job. I think he's going to be really good on the desk at Turner.
Yeah. Now,
but I like what ESPN put together here. It's a great squad.
Can I throw out one name that I'm disappointed was not on here? Not to say that any of these people don't deserve to be on the list, but
if his first name is French and his last name is Irish, I'm cutting you off.
I don't think Gary is a French name, and Thorne is a. No, I was a little disappointed not to see Gary Thorne in the mix here. I was kind of hoping to see him come back, but yeah.
I think it's a really simple thing. They didn't go out of house for play-by-play.
Yeah.
ESPN did not hire anybody for hockey play-by-play.
I mean, that makes the most business sense. I agree, but I was just a little disappointed. That's all.
Yeah, I mean the five people they've got. I guess technically Leah Hextall may have been out. She probably wasn't a full timer with ESPN. But really, when you look at it, all five people that have play-by-play under their title,
are in-house with other sports or were recently hockey voices for them on the college ranks.
Yeah.
No, that would have been fun. I think I sort of assumed Gary Thorne would be back, especially since he's a free agent at the moment, I believe.
I think it's more of it's a nostalgic play, I think, for a lot of people. I'm not sure. It wouldn't have surprised me either way. I'll just say that. It really didn't surprise me that he didn't make the list because of the outside hire part of it. That's really...
Yeah. That makes the most business sense for ESPN. You can't fault him for that, but you can't also help but feel just a little cheated that he's not coming back to this.
Yeah, a couple names I did forget to mention. Darren Payne has been confirmed for Turner Sports, and also I don't know why, but Keith Jones is going to be on there as well. So they've got Albert, Olczyk, Gretzky, Carter, Payne, and Jones as their only official announced group there.
Yeah, that's
Well, they've got a lot of names. They got a lot of names to negotiate with.
They're looking at the moment, but
I believe Brendan Burke is who they're targeting as their number 2, who's been on NBCSN, who's also the Islanders' voice.
Would be a very good pickup.
I'm assuming, if they go 3-man on Turner, Payne goes between the glass with Olczyk and Kenny Albert.
Yeah.
Which I think would be, that's, I could live with that pair.
Is Payne doing behind the glass now?
Yeah, he's a glass. For all St. Louis games, he's between the boards when he's allowed to be. So at the Enterprise Center, he's always between the glass, and any road game they allow him, he's between the glass. Okay. Yeah, he's a downstairs guy. There seems to be a goalie thing wanting to be downstairs.
Clearly, I do like having that set of even if it's only the one upstairs and one behind, if they don't have a second upstairs to do color. I like the idea of having it took me a while to warm up to it, but I think you get just a very different perspective, and you see the game differently at that level than you would from culling it upstairs. Or being the color upstairs.
As a former play-by-play person, I would absolutely hate it in a 2-man booth. I like the physicality of being next to the guy that you're setting up.
And that makes sense.
As a third guy, I think it's phenomenal. But I think you have to have in my opinion, you have to have a really good play-by-play guy that sees and understands the game at the next level to be the only eyes upstairs. Because even Boucher said in his interview that he recently did about how he admitted that he definitely misses stuff being down between the glass, but he likes hearing and feeling the game. And you've got to have a real strong play-by-play guy, not voice, but understands the intricacy of hockey to set it up properly. Right. Or your glass guy has to be really good on the monitor while he's between the glass type thing.
Right. And I think it also comes down to having a strong production unit also to, call, and spotters to call the stuff out. And, when you're between the glass, you pick up the chirping, you pick up you see the... if you've played the game at that level, if you're going to be behind, they're not going to put, just anybody between the glass, right? So you got to see the game and understand the game at a certain level that you can be down there isolated and still be able to read play well and be able to, pull off what you need to be doing there.
Yeah. A couple of the names missing. Of the regulars, the couple of things I guess I'm surprised at. Daryl Ray still not getting picked. I think he would be a perfect Turner guy, the Dallas color guy. We haven't seen Pierre, which I don't think anybody's clamoring for.
No.
Forsland, I thought is interesting that I'm guessing he couldn't go to ESPN because of the, he's hooked up with Seattle. I'd be very shocked if Forsland isn't somebody Turner's negotiating with.
I do wonder how that... I always sort of wondered how that works. How do you do national? Do you do national games when you're not your main team isn't?
Well, Old Czech leaves the Hawks a bunch, and Steve Conroy comes in as the guy.
But that's a color role. But play-by-play strikes me as a little bit different.
Brandon Burke has done it when he's left the Isles to do an NBCSN game before. Micheletti has done it. You know, he's been off Rangers TV. Yeah. You know, when Sam Rosen has had another partner on there. Brian Engblom's name hasn't popped up. I thought, you know, that wasn't a reunited thing. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it too. Yep. Mike Johnson is a name, and I'm wondering if it's because he's too tied into the TSN desk, and the color up there with the regional broadcast.
Right.
But you know, I think that's to me the big name was Pierre being left out. We haven't seen his name on there. John Flores on the play-by-play. Those were, to me, I guess, the two names I expected this. But like I said, Turner's nowhere near done yet. And no. Turner needs a host, and it's going to be real interesting if any of the hosts get plucked from NBC. And I'm not sure, because a guy like Liam McHugh, who's about to do the Olympics, who's been on Football Night in America, I don't think he leaves just for that.
He does Football Night in America. He's the number 2 for Premier League when Rebecca Lowe isn't hosting. He's got his Olympics work. I wouldn't leave just to do the hockey desk.
Isn't he doing the studio? He's also doing Notre Dame now too, I believe, right? The studio there with Tirico going to play-by-play.
There's just not enough of a portfolio of opportunity for Turner for him, I wouldn't think.
Actually, let me take that back. Catherine Tappan is doing Notre Dame football desk. So that's the other name that I'm wondering she would fit so well. Oh,
yeah, she'd be great.
Yeah, so, well, yeah. But good lineups. It's fun to talk about in the offseason. One more broadcasting note. Pat Foley announced that this next season is going to be his final year as the voice of the Blackhawks. So after a darn near 30-year run, basically my entire Hawks remembrance is he's doing his swan song. He'll do the rocking chair tour throughout the NHL this year. And that'll be a sought-after job.
Yeah, it will.
So, any other odds and ends, guys, that you want to talk about in the NHL world? Because I've got the hockey adjacent topic, but any odds and ends in your brains that I missed?
I think I'm good to go hockey adjacent.
I'm excited by what you got planned for this one.
Hockey needs a star. Beef, they do. Because what's going on with Koepka and DeChambeau in golf is freaking phenomenal. Now, like, the caddy breakup has become a thing on social media. I don't know if you saw that. DeChambeau and caddy broke up.
Bryson dumping his caddy again right before the first round of the Quicken Loans.
Not dumping. They're having some time off. Again, they did this.
Yeah.
They did this like 3 years ago, and then Koepka comes back out with a quote with a tweet of a picture of him and his caddy of like 100% together, can't do it without you type thing. Just trolling him.
He's so good at this.
We need this in hockey. I want like PK Subban has been on the ESPN desk, recently, and you can tell he's starting to warm up to it. I want it, with the way I want him to troll somebody out there. Why can't we get like a beef with like Subban and Seth Jones or PK and
Shea Weber?
No, jeez, really?
Oh, come on, low hanging fruit.
I want some personality out there. I mean, how great would that be?
That'd be great. Think of who would be the other, like, who would be the best to kind of to troll like that?
In his youth, Patrick Kane would have been perfect for it.
Still think he could be.
Could be. I feel like he's mellowed a smidge in his age.
It's in his fatherhood. It coincided to his fatherhood.
When he was beating up and ripping off cab drivers, like that's when you would wanted him to.
Jesus! Wow!
What?
Just going there. Okay.
Where's the lie? But no, you're right. I mean, I think the problem is it's something that Eichel would get drawn into potentially, and because there is I'm gonna say selflessness, but like, Connor McDavid's one of the 3 biggest stars in the game. Can you see him getting sucked into something like this? I just don't see it.
No, I don't.
Eichel, I could though.
No.
Right? It's a certain personality type, but like the guys like McDavid, like Draisaitl.
But I'm even give me a third line guy. Give me a third line guy.
Who cares about a third line guy?
Because
Koepka and DeChambeau have majors. These guys have cred. Can you give me a third line guy? Okay, here is a star who could. If you want a star beef, it can't be a third line guy.
But I want to.
It can't be a third line guy.
I'm asking to start. Okay, what about? I mean,
right.
Luongo versus Bobrovsky. That would have been great.
That would have been great.
Hilarious.
How about give me Marchand and anybody?
Oh,
right now?
there you
that
go.
That would be fantastic. Marchand is the guy you could easily draw into something like this.
That's a good one. Jonathan Quick. I think he could do something like that.
I think he could too.
But by the way, speaking of Twitter beefs, this is why the team social media sites are the best thing going in hockey, because the players don't do it. Columbus, about a half hour ago, put out, and by the way, we are recording on Friday this week. We haven't talked about that at all. It's just a heads up there. Roses are red, the jackets are blue. Write us a poem, and maybe we'll follow you. Kraken. Our eye is red, the deep is blue. We can be friends. Still gonna take a player from you.
Yes.
Seattle Kraken Twitter wins the day.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Like, Vegas Golden Knights Twitter, phenomenal, especially in the playoffs. Their trolling is on freaking point. I want this. Golf. I don't watch a lot of golf, but oh my God, am I following Koepka and DeChambeau, because it's freaking hilarious the way. I mean, Koepka's owning him right now. Let's just.
He is living rent free in his head.
Oh my God, it's great. This is. I want this. I want this. We need to make it happen in hockey. Like, there is a star player I think that could get into it. I think Matthews could.
Really?
He's not always measured. He's got a side to him. He lets it out.
Yes.
I guess I haven't really noticed.
See, I don't think either guy has the makeup for it, but I think you really make it personal. You start some beef between Quinn and Jack Hughes.
Ooh, yes.
Get the brothers going at each other. And I think when the third one gets picked in the top 5, 5 or 6 this year, there's some potential for some good-natured.
You're more likely to have the Tkachuk brothers hammer each other than the Hughes brothers hammer each other on social media.
Oh, that's true. That would be a good one too. I feel like Marchand and Matthew Tkachuk would be. Matthew is Matthew's the one in Calgary?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think that could be the beef right there. It's a shame. The hardest part is they play each other twice a year, so it's that's the thing with scheduling like that. With hockey, with a sport like hockey, a sport like basketball, you have the regionality of it, which complicates matters a little bit. Not much, just a little though.
I think Lundqvist could have had fun with this.
Yes.
Goalie. It's a goalie. Maybe it's a goalie thing is what I'm kind of zeroing in on.
You can get Luongo and Lundqvist.
Oh, that yeah,
like I think that even in retirement,
what about
I think
a Brett Burns?
Ooh,
Brett Burns in a Jonathan Quick type situation.
Oh, there we go. A little West Coast beef. That could be.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here for that.
Evander Kane with a little Quick. Kane probably wants to stay low key right now. The more they think about it, Let's
nothing about Brent Burns is low key. So
let's get Marchand and Burns traded to the same division. Let's do that, and then get a Twitter war going.
Oh, there we go.
Can you get Philip on that?
Yeah, I'll get him working on that.
Okay.
Can you tweet out to either one? See if we can get something started.
It's the same look I get from talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's where he gets it. He watches this and he's like, oh, that's how I respond to my dad.
Yep. It's all nice and shiny like LDE Affinity Jewelry is. If you need some jewelry, you can go to the LDEAffinityJewelry.com. If you click them right from the Pro Hockey News website, you get a discount when you put stuff in your shopping cart. Thank you to our friends at LDE Affinity Jewelry for being a partner of the PHN podcast. Gentlemen, it's
the segues, Adam.
They're
I gotta
back.
tell you, both of them today.
They're back.
They're back.
They're in full force. Love it.
They are. Those are well done.
Going into that 3-day weekend. I think there's something in my brain. Yeah. So I won't ruin my close up. But yeah, it's final thoughts time. Maybe that I have a reason why. But final thoughts time, gentlemen. I use that loosely. Richard, we'll start with you.
So I know this is not a video podcast, but about maybe towards the end of this episode, I had to go pick up my son from his nap. He just woke up a little cranky. But proud dad moment today, which is going to be my parting thought here. We were going through one of his books, and he is recognizing and pointing to letters at 2 years old, able to recite the letter. He found B-U-S in his book. I asked him what it spelled. He said bus. So
nice.
Yeah. Way to go, kiddo. Keep up the good work.
Good thing your wife's smart.
Every day I'm like, oh, I'm so glad your mom is like where you got most of your genes.
We really should have ended with you because now no matter what we say, Lonnie, it's not even close. Dad brag wins.
Which is good. I mean, yeah, I really have nothing. Although I suppose I have my own proud dad moment where yesterday I was told my 16-year-old I would happily, take my wife's car and leave her my car, which is the car she much prefers driving. And because I was going out to dinner, and she said, "Oh, it's okay. I can drive mommy's car." I'm like, "You don't like it?" She's like, "Yeah, it's fine. I know what I can drive it. It's not like I have to take it to get gas or anything, right?" I'm like, and she's like, "No, it's fine. You take your car. I can do it." And it's like all of a sudden it like clicked that a car is a car, and she can just drive either one places.
Now I need to know, what are the two cars?
I mean, we're not talking about super exotic choices. It's my Nissan Rogue or my wife's Nissan Pathfinder. But the Pathfinder's pretty substantially different. And when she was learning to drive, she had zero interest. Like, she drove my wife's car a few times, but she really... I mean, it's a lot more car.
Let's Pathfinder's a little bit bigger.
Let's focus on the most important part of this. He needed permission from a 16-year-old to drive his own car. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah, that's been the case for 6 months. Where have you been?
Okay, you're not going to brag about yourself. Hey, congrats! You won some journalism awards this past week. I'm going to make you talk about yourself.
I did. Thank you. I did win this past week. They announced the winners of the Simon Rockower Awards for excellence in Jewish journalism. I won first place for writing about education. Second place for politics and government reporting, and one of my regular freelancers took a second place for news obituary.
As your friend, I'm happy you won first place. As the ribber on the podcast, I'm happy you have a second place, so you are the biggest loser. But you did win instead of being only the biggest loser like you've been in the past. But
let me tell you, we are in a category with massive.
Yeah, you are.
Because we're only web. Because we're not print. Most of all the local publications are print. We are in a category of online only, which include massive news organizations with budgets that dwarf ours and unique page views in a year, which in a month, which we maybe get in a year. So you know what? Winning anything is a massive accomplishment. So I am thrilled for the work we've done in 2020 and on into the future.
There you go. Well, congrats to you, my friend. Congrats to you.
Thank you very much.
I'm excited because very, very shortly, in a matter of hours, I am going to be not just putting on hockey skates for the first. I've actually put on hockey skates because Rory's learning how to skate. But I will be putting on pads and a jersey and a helmet and popping the mouth guard in. The summer hockey, it's back. It's back. Locker rooms are open and our team is back together.
and for a mini season of like 8 games, 10 games, whatever it is, before the official fall season. So, and I've never played summer hockey before. Usually it's when I take off, but umpiring's ending, the girls' softball's ending, and I am going to do some me time.
How long's it been since you've since the team's been
Haven't
together?
played a game. The team played a little bit of a spring league, only about like half our team. We haven't played most, and we're kind of a makeshift team. Well, it's not the full team back, but the majority of us that were playing together for a couple years, it's the first time we'll be back on the ice together since late February of last year.
Whoa.
Yeah. I physically haven't touched a hockey stick since that time either.
Wow.
Oh, could be a rough.
Oh, the only skating I've done is whirling around with Rory after, like, during public skate, which lasts a whole 20 to 30 minutes because after that she's like done.
We're gonna need some video.
Well, then come out here and shoot it. I don't have the ability to take video.
That's a bummer.
Okay.
You better go rescue that guitar that's behind you there, Richard. Richard was about to have to buy a new guitar.
Yeah.
So he can read, but he can't play guitar yet. I'm taking it.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm much older than he is, so.
But can you read?
I mean, I'm getting there.
I mean, you are in visual media for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. But I do write, so there's that.
Fair enough. Good point. Good point. For Richard Cote and Lonnie Goldsmith, this is Adam and Nick saying so long. Thank you for joining us on another edition of the Pro Hockey News Podcast.